Just outside of Concrete, neighbors today were able to get back into their homes for the first time. Mud and high waters doing severe damage to so many homes along that river. We have team coverage for you tonight, beginning with KOMO's Kara Kostanich live in the Skagit River Valley. Kara.
And guys, I have to tell you, the damage is certainly difficult to see. At this time yesterday, this whole area was completely submerged under the water, but progress here today. You can see that water has receded back significantly, but of course there's still a long way to go. One neighbor just told me that he's noticed that the river has actually come up here in the last couple of hours. We're in the Cape Horn development just outside Concrete right now. There's about 200 properties here, and it's estimated between 20 and 30% of them took on water. Now that water came in so fast here yesterday, a man had to be pulled off his roof by a helicopter. That area is still not accessible because of high water tonight. Now the town of Concrete is on higher ground and stayed dry through all of this, but they did lose power early Monday, shuttering the entire downtown business core, but that power back on here in just the last 90 minutes. It's going to be a long haul for many neighbors here in the Cape Horn community.
It's been a wild flood. I mean, it came in quicker than they said it was going to come in. It's depressing. It's a mess. I feel so bad for so many people in here. They've been hit hard.
Boy, that's for sure. Now, the National Weather Service just told me about 15 minutes ago that they will be above flood stage here in the Concrete area in the Cape Horn neighborhood until Thursday afternoon. So they've got a couple more days of that. That flood stage is 32.5 feet. Remember, yesterday they hit nearly 40 feet right here. So again, improvement here today. But they've got a couple more days to get through all this. We're live near Concrete tonight. I'm Kara Kostanich, KOMO News.
Boy, that is tough to hear. A couple more days. Kara, thank you. In Mount Vernon, the city's flood wall just passed its first major test. This is a look over that area today. The Skagit River reached a level of roughly 36.5 feet, which is just about a foot shy of the record.
I think our city took some bold steps years ago and decided to build this type of infrastructure. And I'm very proud, but also feel for the communities that were affected.
Mayor Boudreau says city leaders aren't letting their guard down yet. They'll be closely watching the river in case any dangers do pop up. Just within the past hour or so, city officials lifted the voluntary evacuation west of West Mount Vernon. Crews also began removing barriers on Freeway Drive to open the road to all traffic.
The mayor of Sumas says that about 75% of the homes in that city have flood damage. Tractors, front-end loaders, and jet skis are being used to help people get residents to safety. City leaders tell KOMO News that about 500 people were evacuated both yesterday and today. Families have reported anywhere from a foot to 5 feet of water inside their homes. The city of Sumas doesn't own the equipment being used in the rescues. Instead, nearby businesses and volunteers have been stepping up to help their fellow neighbors. Tonight, officials are searching for a man who was seen being swept away in floodwaters early yesterday morning. Everson police confirmed that 59-year-old Jose Garcia was doing work when he drove through a road-closed barricade on East Main and his vehicle was swept away. Police say he tried to get out of the car and was taken away by the water. He was able to make calls to family members and told them he was holding on to bushes or trees, but the call was disconnected. He hasn't been heard from since. Jose Garcia has 4 children.
A voluntary evacuation notice is in place right now in Ferndale over levee concerns. City leaders say it's being issued out of an abundance of caution for people south of Main Street between 4th Avenue and the Nooksack River. The river has not crested yet, but officials say there is a possibility that it could breach the existing levee. Flooded roadways along with water making its way into homes forced some people to leave before anyone was put on notice.
My wife and I were there at like 1:45 a.m. and it was, the water line at that point was about 2 to 3 inches from getting inside.
I-5 is open in both directions through Ferndale now, but both Main Street exits are closed due to the flooding.
Shockingly, only one person had minor injuries in this horrible-looking crash on I-5 on the Skagit River Bridge. This was on the northbound lanes just before noon today. You can see the cab of a semi-truck on top of a smaller red car, just absolutely crushing it. Investigators say the car was hit from behind and was folded in half. But again, incredibly, only minor injuries. You may remember that this is the same bridge that partially fell into the river in 2013 after a semi-truck carrying an oversized load hit the bridge's overhead support beams.
Right now, the State Department of Transportation says it does not yet have a time frame in mind for when things will open up on this stretch of I-5 in Bellingham. A slide left dirt, trees, and rocks over that roadway. The DOT shared photos saying that crews are working hard to get things cleaned up. Drivers are being urged not to go around the road closure signs. And no detours are available right now because of several other road closures.
In the South Sound, the waterfront at Redondo got hammered by the high winds and the pounding waves. Today, crews are out repairing all of the damage. KOMO's Keith Eldridge is there live with the new developments, and sounds like they really took a pounding there, Keith.
Yeah, it was quite a scene yesterday, and here's the area where all the damage happened along the seawall here in Redondo. Now, it's quite a surprise for the folks who live here. They're used to storms, but this one came with high winds and high tides, and the damage was done at this section of the seawall, the protective wall at the north end of the waterfront. The crews are out today making repairs to where big chunks of concrete were knocked out, and drainage pipe was actually blown up by the force of the waves and high wind. We were here when the waves came crashing on shore at high tide yesterday afternoon. The high tide hit at around 2:30 at 11.5 feet, the same high tide it's been for more than a week, but the difference being the high winds churning up the seas. People living here said the high tide seemed more like 14 feet. Now, we showed you Connie Hayward's video of vehicles trying to make their way through the waves that came crashing over the seawall, and with the waves came rocks and sand until the city finally blocked the road at both ends.
And I could hear the wind going and the storm just crashing the wall. So I said, Trina, come on, you got to see this. She goes, oh my God, this is beautiful. I go, yep, that's why I live here. I said, it's just, the storm's so powerful and it's just beautiful.
Mother Nature, I love it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You can't get upset. Mother Nature's going to do what she wants to do, and that thing right there, you don't realize how powerful it is until you're standing there. The rocks were coming across there. It sounded like a dump truck dumping rock.
More home video shows water getting into Ernie Campany's yard, but fortunately they built a protective deck to keep the water out, and now they're concerned about more high tides coming later next month, and just keeping an eye on the weather to see if more heavy rains and high winds will coincide with that, making for a dangerous situation. Again, coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, damage was done to the Highline College Maritime Aquarium and the Science Center there. We're going to find out what's happening with them as the damage they got and how the aquarium animals are doing. We're live in Redondo. Keith Eldridge, KOMO News.
Keith, thank you. Tonight, crews have made significant progress restoring power across western Washington. At one point, more than 150,000 homes were without power. Right now, Puget Sound Energy reports more than 24,000 customers still without power. Snohomish PUD has nearly 7,000 customers without power across Snohomish County and Camano Island. We'll keep an eye on the power situation and update you throughout the night. A big chunk of Puget Sound Energy's outages are right on Whidbey Island. The entire island lost power on Monday, and much of it remains in the dark tonight. KOMO's Nick Popham has the latest from Whidbey.